Have you ever seen a clip on social media of what looks like a glitch in the Matrix? Maybe there's a bird frozen in midair, or a strange creature appears out of nowhere, or a bizarre time warp that seems to happen. That's what we're actually going to dive into today on this metaphysical episode. We've been collecting viral videos and images of what people are calling these glitches in the Matrix for a long time now, with the goal of figuring out once and for all if something bizarre really happened or not. Well, what it turned into was a mixture of investigative research and remote viewing data that debunked a whole lot of fakery, plus a few extremely surprising and rare real glitches that can't be explained in a normal way. So from the disappearing Pope to motionless planes to a restaurant mystery and more, stay tuned for this Debunkathon, where we'll expose the fakes and also see what you think of the real ones. So join us, Rob Counts and John Vivanco, for a metaphysical show that's out of this world.
Are you listening to this metaphysical podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or anywhere else? That 5-star rating and review really helps us, and we really appreciate it. Remember, you've got to like, follow, and subscribe wherever you are watching this.
John, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. I'm doing
Good.
great, actually. Yeah.
You know, I have to say this video is a long time coming. I've been saving up what I call glitch videos for a really long time. These are
I know
videos
you
that,
have. I know you
yeah,
have. I know you have.
and these are videos that I've watched, whether
This
it
is
be
Rob's
on,
fault.
yeah, paranormal caught on camera, which is on, gosh, I think that's the Travel Channel, or just stuff that I've watched over a long period of time off of YouTube and several different places, random videos that went viral that no one can explain. And I've just been collecting them for a while because I thought, hey, you know, someday it'd be cool to take a stab at trying to explain at least some of them to the home
Yeah.
audience using, you know, remote viewing if we can, or whatever, you know, to figure out what's really going on with some of these videos, because people have captured a whole lot of really bizarre stuff over the years. And some of these things have confused me and a whole lot of other people, a whole lot over the course of even the last 10 years. Um, and the first video that we were going to talk about probably is one of the most confusing, if not the most confusing, that I think we've seen over the last 5 years, which was the Pope disappearing in that window. Do you remember that when that happened?
Yeah, I do. I do remember that.
This was around 2020. The Pope basically appears in a window and he's waving to a crowd. I think this was it was around Easter Sunday in the COVID period of time. You know, he basically appears, he's waving, he turns around, he starts walking away from the window, and then bloop, totally disappears. Let's watch that video right now, and then we'll go into it. There he is. Good old Pope. Biggest shutters on the planet. Ready? Boom. Just a couple of frames, it's like a total disappearance.
Right. I remember it was like that that time frame, and when it happened, people were really like looking to, you know, some kind of leadership to tell them everything's going to be okay, right? And so I think that they had this sort of live feed on his window because they were expecting him to come out at any moment and, you know, do something, wave or do something.
Yeah, we have a little bit of information here. On April 13th, 2020, Pope Francis presented the Regina Coeli prayer. I may have mispronounced that, excuse me, from the Vatican on the day after Easter Sunday. The moment came amid the beginning months of COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Vatican, during his remarks, he specifically acknowledged the role of women in combating the coronavirus. And I don't know what the heck that means. The prayer appeared to be broadcast live and was later made available on YouTube. Pope Francis' prayer was also reported on by television news organizations across the world. Okay, now, basically, people have tried to theorize exactly what's going on here for years. Is it hologram? Is this just a glitch in the video? Time is missing in the video. He was there 1 second and he's disappears the next. Again, did the video jump? Which these are more, probable explanations for what's going on. We are just looking at that window, and then all of a sudden, it's like this strange glitch. Like that could be some sort of
some magical occult disappearance.
Well, that's what
they're
that's
they're in
what
the back room practicing magic, and he's like, going to give people a little show, or he accidentally does it. He like maybe he trips and says a magic incantation at that moment and disappears.
right.
So
He Harry Potters himself out of there.
Right, exactly.
I think occult and hologram are the biggest conspiracy theories about this, but I think editing video and jumped time is what everyone's mainstream media is probably going with.
Right. I mean, I like the explanation of it being some kind of occult thing going on in the background.
Right. It's fun.
Yeah. It is.
I
fun.
want that to be true.
I want it to be true
just
too. Yeah.
Not because I want the Pope doing occult things, but more just because everybody knows some of that stuff is happening in one place or another, and it would perhaps prove that that's going on. You know what I'm trying to say?
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah.
But wait, what was your reaction when you first saw this, though?
My reaction when I first saw it was network glitch on the feed, which is what the remote viewing data pointed exactly to as well. And it literally, it's just so you've got a camera that's just live streaming. It's just live streaming, and there's bandwidth issues.
Yeah.
And it's just sitting there. There's not necessarily a camera person there who's, filming onto the camera. It's not being filmed onto the camera. It's being transmitted somewhere through the internet. You get a lot of issues with that on live feeds, especially. You can see a lot of news live feeds that are just sitting there where they stop and start. They glitch out. So it did a bigger glitch at the moment that he was walking out of the window. The video stops and then restarts when he's completely out of the window frame, which is not very much time either.
It's not.
And I think that a lot of this stuff is, it's like that meme. You know that meme. Thank God April Fool's Day is over. I can believe everything on the internet now.
Right. Yeah.
A lot of this stuff is like that. A lot of glitch videos are just that. Just I think if aliens came here, I mean, what am I saying? Aliens are here. Okay, fine. Everything like that. Yes, they're here. But let's just say they aren't here and they came here because they wanted to interact with humans. And if they just went and focused on the social media aspect of humans from TikTok to Instagram, they would just turn around and walk away.
Well, why do you say that?
Or they just go, wow, these people, we could really use them as farm animals,
Yeah, because we're gullible and we believe anything we see. Is that what you mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but then on the other hand, people get legitimate.
They do, right? I'm just painting with a broad brush at the moment.
Yeah, a little bit. And it is understandable because it's so easy to hoax stuff. But then the problem with all of the hoaxing is that there's so much stuff that's legitimate that is put out there, and then no one believes it because of all of the hoaxers that are out there trying to grift to get something, right?
Right. Well, but this is also a subject of conversation in that when a person is in the normal world, they watch the news to get their information, and they begin to see the lies around that. They begin to see the manipulation around that. They realize that this is just a big, huge mind control operation. When a person begins to realize that, then they're going to start stepping into the strange and more conspiracy stuff. There has to be another way to capture these people and send them down rabbit holes and belief systems that are completely erroneous and wrong. So there are layers and levels that are set up in order to capture people. I mean, one of those things when people do on the spiritual side is the New Age movement, which is part of that whole structure to capture people and hold them in a new position, in a new place with false information, false ideas. Not all of it, obviously, because it's always a mixed bag. And I see a lot of this stuff from that perspective, where you can have something absolutely legit and interesting, and then you'll have a flood of other things pushed around it in order to obfuscate it.
Yeah.
Fake things. And social media is perfect for that.
Yeah. Well, if it's a breeding ground for psychological operations, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, so easy to I mean, that is where mimetic warfare comes from nowadays. Right. Is like how much can you influence using memes? Right. You know, unrestricted warfare revolves around this kind of thing. And to some extent, I mean, you could prove that the internet was created just for that. Or at least parts of the internet that people are using all of the time were created by defense organizations around the world. I'll leave it at that right now.
Well, you know, we're not given these things from the internet to our cell phones to AI. We're not given these things out of the kindness of their own heart, in a sense. These are all things that are ultimately, to one degree or another, meant to control. That's it.
Yeah. Otherwise, why release something? Why release a piece of technology if it's not for a reason?
Right.
Well, anyway, that's our first glitch video, and I have to apologize to those of you that thought that this video was legit. I'm sorry we had to debunk it. Here is the video from a different angle where you can see him move into the background. Okay. Here he goes, and all right. Pope Francis leaving on his own from another angle. Sorry, everybody.
Well, that's the other thing too. People will just, you know, they don't have enough information, in a sense, you know, switch video angles. So.
Yeah, look at it from a different angle. See if he's
find a different network
from that angle.
Right.
Correct. So. All right. Well, the second video we've got. Next, we're going to move on to what is, I think, called the parallax effects. Motionless planes that people have seen appearing to float in the air without moving. We've seen this with birds as well, but we're going to do the plane first. Let's check this video out.
This plane traveling into San Francisco is seemingly defying the laws of physics. It appears to just be sitting still in the air. It's gone viral. It was taken by a man from the window of a nearby plane. The video is actually an optical illusion. It's called the parallax effect. It's a type of visual illusion in which the position of a moving object appears to freeze due to the position of the observer.
Yeah, there's another one too. We should watch that one as well, because this isn't the first time people have captured this.
Why is this plane stuck in the air?
The explanation here is pretty easy.
Is that
this
a
plane
cow?
Is just stopped at a stoplight. I'm just stroking your chain, guys. I'm a regular Matt Rife. All jokes aside, though, this person was recording while they were driving down the highway because this plane appeared like it wasn't moving. Even when they drove directly underneath the plane, it still appeared as though it wasn't moving. Because of this strange phenomenon, many people in the comments were very confused as to what was going on, and a lot of them had their own explanations. Some people were saying that this was most likely just a very large balloon. Other people were saying this was Project Bluebeam or something like that. But the real explanation here is far more simple. This can be explained by something known as the parallax effect. In this diagram here, imagine that you're at position B looking at the plane, which is on this red square. The entire time you're driving from position B to position A, and the plane is moving the opposite direction from the red square to the blue square. If you guys are both moving at the proper speeds and you rotate like this, everything that is between you and the plane is going to appear in the same exact spot. This means that you get this very strange optical illusion where this object that's supposed to be moving hundreds of miles per hour appears still. But in reality, all it has to do with is the relative speed and the objects in between that make it look like it's not moving.
Yeah, I've seen one of the things I have to say, regardless of the explanation of the parallax effect, etc., is that I have been standing still and watched planes come in really, really slow, so slow as they're landing that they almost appear to come to a dead stop. Now, this is me standing still. I grew up near an airport, mind you, okay? And you're just watching the plane and you're wondering, how is this thing not falling from the sky? You hear the jet engines going, of course, but it seems to be going too slow for a plane to actually travel in order for it to land. I've seen that multiple times, stand still, not moving. And that has always confused me, which I think perhaps other people have seen that as well. And then when they see a video like this, it reminds them of it. And of course, the parallax effect is a perfect way to explain this. But one of the things that always intrigued me is the fact that scientists don't really understand to this day how planes fly.
Well, no, I mean,
how they actually fly. They understand that a plane can go and take off, but how the plane flies, maybe Lindsay, you can pull up an article on that because we've talked about this multiple times. Go ahead.
Well, the wing is shaped so air pools underneath, which creates lift, right? And then basically flying is a controlled fall. And there has to be enough speed in order to keep it from going downwards and that lift. And so you've got speed up against gravity, up against the lift that you have to balance the whole time while you're flying the plane. So it would be the shape of the wing that creates this bubble of lighter air underneath, which lifts it.
Would be my explanation of it too.
That's how
But
it works.
I've seen multiple articles like the one Lindsay just pulled up, where it shows or explains that scientists, everyone can explain what you just explained, but no one really understands why
that creates lift.
Yes, why it creates lift and why they stay in the air. Basically,
the physics
flying. Flying happened through trial and error. Guys just got out there on the runway with a mechanism that looked similar to a plane and kept trying until they finally got in the air. So it was R&D that created, airplanes, really just people getting out there and trying over and over again, experimenting over and over again. And then they got the hang of it and kept developing it from there. The explanation of why is still slightly a mystery, which I find really interesting. I mean, tell me what your thoughts are on this, John. I mean, I think we're
parallax. I mean, because when a plane is coming in for a landing, for one thing, if it looks like it's standing still, there's a lot of things going on because it's literally has to do with the angle. It's got to do with the amount of lift underneath the wings. It's got to do with the speed. And so as it comes in, it's going to go slow. It's going to go slow. I mean, it literally is. It's going to look like it's going slow, especially in front of it. So, I mean, it's just a normal thing. And parallax is just I don't understand why people would relate it to a glitch or something strange or something odd, because parallax is just a visual phenomenon. It's an optical illusion where you're moving towards something while that something is moving towards you. And especially if a plane is coming in for landing, it's going at a slow speed. So it's going to look like it's pretty much standing still because you've got various things going out to the perspective that are various distances from you. And things closer to you are going to appear to get bigger really fast. Things in the background are going to appear to stay around the same size until you get closer to them. And so you got two things coming towards each other. This is like it's parallax. It's obvious, not something that needs to be remote viewed. But I see people do a lot of strange things with airplanes too. You know, when airplanes are flying towards you and they've got the light on in the front, that light looks like just a stationary light just in the sky, very slightly moving. I used to see this all the time at the beach, right? And there's an airport behind me. Sitting on the beach, out over the ocean, I see just a light, a big bright light, because it's an airplane coming right at you, right overhead, right at you. And a lot of people will film those things and misrepresent them as UFOs.
UFOs.
Yeah, yeah,
You and I even saw something like that. We were really confused by a light that was in the sky when we were in
yeah. Right,
Washington. And
right.
then we kept watching it, and eventually we were like, oh, it's a plane.
But you know what was odd about that was that is an area where there shouldn't be much air traffic at all, because you're looking at like just wilderness, and there were things flying around out there, and it was very bizarre. I mean, military base. I don't. There wasn't even a military base out there.
Well, there was some military action going on when
There
you
was,
and
yeah, there was,
I
because
were out there.
we had that C-130 flyover,
Yeah.
very low, whisper quiet.
Okay, one of the reasons why people have maybe been posting the plane videos and trying to figure out what's going on is because there have been much more mysterious videos of birds that appear to be frozen in the air that have circulated. And now let's watch one of these videos and then let's try to explain it.
It looks like a blackbird, but it's not moving.
That's a dead bird, and it's just floating in the air. No strings, no nothing.
He's not the only one who saw it.
That's freaking weird, man.
Isn't it?
Yeah, like there's someone else taking a picture.
It's a mystery, leaving many people puzzled and questioning, what could it be?
This has to be like a wire. It can't. There's no way something that can just be floating in midair.
Speaking of wires, could this be an Erev?
Erev is a boundary that goes around a community. The Jewish people are obligated to keep Sabbath. So this boundary makes the area into a semi-private domain.
This can be done by using a piece of string.
And we'll often put on orange flagging to make sure it's visible.
A rabbi at an Orthodox synagogue confirms with Glacier Media that there are no Erevs in Surrey.
The string there is much higher than we would use. Our strings are usually 10 to 20 feet off the ground. This exceeded 20 feet, going over the top of a very tall tree.
The city of Surrey did not get any reports of this bird. Environment and Climate Change Canada does not have any input on crows. The Ministry of Agriculture and Food cannot give a diagnosis without examining the bird. And BC Hydro says power lines would not cause something like this.
Let's have some fun with it. Maybe it is a glitch in the matrix.
There is one person who studies the unknown. Meet Paul Kingsbury. He researches paranormal activity.
That's the beauty of these paranormal events, that you can't rule out anything if you can't prove something is purely empirical. If I was a betting person, I would say it's some kind of fishing line.
So, not a glitch.
I guess I'm going on a sort of debunking path in terms of, well, it must be a wire rather than a glitch in the fabric of reality.
For now, our imaginations will continue to soar. Or maybe there's someone out there pranking us all. Elena Kelly, Glacier Media, Surrey.
That's a weird one, because it's not like the bird is floating, you're moving. Multiple people caught this. The bird seems to be dead, frozen in midair. It does look like it's attached to something physical, but that thing can't be seen anywhere, and it's right over those power lines. So I have a hard time thinking that there's a fishing line of some sort being cast from anywhere. You'd see whatever that was holding it up. What do you think, John? What was your reaction to this video?
Pretty much what remote viewing data says. That was my reaction.
Which what was that?
Just fishing line. You can't see the fishing line on the camera. You just can't. Like, you're looking at a very low resolution thing.
So this was a prank.
It seemed to have to do with religion in the data. So it's just whatever the rabbi said. Like, who knows? Like, maybe somebody wasn't supposed to do it there. Maybe it's some other rabbi, maybe, I don't know, something along that line. So yeah, it's just a mundane thing, really. It's not, I mean, it's weird that somebody would just do that in general, but they do things like that. And
yeah, the most interesting part of this whole thing is I had no idea that people put fishing line up with orange flags on them to, I guess, zone out an area, like a Jewish area. I've never heard. I've not heard of that before.
Right. So I don't know. I mean, it just seemed to run along the line of religious-y kind of thing, but definitely strung up with line. People put it up there. Could be a more cultish kind of thing. The data wasn't super specific on that kind of stuff. I think what troubles me more with this kind of stuff is the very scant and ridiculous news reports like that. It's just like ridiculous. It's like they're trying to get people to go into fantasy world with it as opposed to actually investigating and reporting.
Well, true, but at least
man.
Okay, but at least they contacted the local Jewish authorities to
But
ask.
why would they even go into, bringing a paranormal person and glitch in the matrix? That's the part where I'm just like, come on, just
because it went so viral. It was that video went.
That's
so
what they
viral.
intended, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So they had to address at least those parts of it because it had gone so viral, right?
Yeah.
And
okay, I got it.
And the paranormal investigator guy, to his credit, was like, "Hey, I think this is a line of some sort."
Yeah, right. Of course. But it's like all they had to do was like stick a ladder up there. It's like, come on.
Yeah, like what's going on?
Right.
But I'd still, and so like, is there a fishing line over my house? Like, what's going on? I don't get it. I've never heard of that before over an area.
Well, you could just string it up. You just string it up and then put whatever you want on it. People can't see the line. Even with your eyes, it's a little difficult to see fishing line. It's clear.
Of course it is. It's totally from that far away too. That high would be very difficult to see.
Right.
Why would you want to put it up there so close to the electric lines?
Well, we don't like so the camera angles are when you get to camera angles and you've got something behind something, you can't really judge distances. Again, it's like cameras don't really represent reality that well when you're actually standing there. So who knows when you get right down to it.
Okay, I want to we've been debunking a whole lot, and I want to see if I can get one that
I'm sorry, it's going to
dumps us here. Actually, just if you guys are getting discouraged by watching this, you got to keep watching because there's a couple of bangers in here that are going to knock your socks off. I promise you. All right. So have you heard of, let's watch something else. Lindsay's going to play this video.
So in this video, you can see me grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half. And then I cut it in half once more right there. You can see me cut it, right? I go get a bag. Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half? And my face, I'm like, what the f-? So I'm like inspecting it, I take it out of the bag, I grab this lemon, trying to see if I cut that one, I recut the lemon, because the lemon wasn't cut anymore. I'm freaking out, because the lemon was not cut in half anymore. It was literally intact, and you can see me in the video cut the lemon in half. There was a glitch. This has never happened to me, and I don't know how to act. I'm freaking out. I'm going to play the video one more time so you guys can see. So in this video, you can see me grabbing a lemon, right? I cut it in half, and then I cut it in half once more right there. You can see me cut it, right?
You can see her cut through.
Okay, I grab the bag, I go back for the lemon, and I grab the lemon, and I touch it, and I'm like, why is it not cut in half? And my face, I'm like, what the f-? So I'm like inspecting it, I take it out of the bag, I grab this lemon, trying to see if I cut that one, I recut the lemon, because the lemon wasn't cut anymore.
All right. So I watched this video. Now this video went extremely viral a couple years ago, I think it was. And I watched that video several times, even leading up to this discussion. It really does look like she cuts through the lemon before she goes to get the bag and then comes back to see an uncut lemon. Her expression, the way she looks and appears in the video is total confusion about why the lemon is not cut. I don't know where she works. What is this, Chipotle or something? How probable is it that she got the surveillance footage? I don't even know how easy that would be at a place like that the camera was on her. Yes, I think that there's cameras on in the back of all of these places now to make sure that no one's doing any funny stuff. I think that that's going on. The fact that she got it, she was able to put it on social media. I have some questions about those things, but it did look like the lemon got cut and that she got confused after because it wasn't, and she had to recut it. And, you know, from her explanation, this was some type of weird glitch in the Matrix. What was your reaction to this video first, and then tell me what you think?
Yeah,
John?
I didn't really think much of it when I saw it. I just thought this went viral. That's what I thought. That's really what I thought.
Right. This is TikTok, right?
Well, this is where the aliens run away. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I didn't really think much of it. She is, you know, on the remote viewing side, like, you know, she is genuinely confused, legitimately confused. You have to understand, like, okay, to be honest, like with remote viewing, things can get really weird if there's nothing going on. Like the data goes in different directions, ventures off. It's like just describing a kitchen scene or something like that with no like
nothing hard to
right, nothing hard to grip onto from the aspect of it being paranormal, Mandela effect. I don't know what else. A portal with a new lemon coming through. I don't know. Nothing in any of the data on that went in any of that direction. It just was literally, she's shocked, she's surprised, everybody's cooking stuff.
So, but we've got a potential glitch
which
here.
Typically means that nothing actually happened. So when the data goes that direction, it typically means nothing actually happened. Typically. Now,
you mean that she just didn't cut through the lemon?
Or she didn't hit it all the way through and couldn't pull it apart, didn't go all the way through it, it stuck together with suction or something like that, and she couldn't get it apart. So, but I don't know. Honestly, don't know, because because none of the data went into that kind of stuff, and typically when data doesn't go into that, there's like nothing going on. It's also like the remote viewers in general can get really bored if you're just tasking them on really mundane things that are going on during a session. They can get really bored and just go like, you know, describing some food tray or something, and that's it, you know.
So this one's a little bit still a mystery because it does look like she cut through it. She cuts lemons all day long. The fact that she wouldn't be able to pull it apart,
she cuts
is
lemons
weird.
all day long.
Right? She's a lemon cutter.
She's a professional lemon cutter.
She's a professional lemon cutter.
Right. And she puts them into plastic bags.
She puts them into plastic bags to save for later. This is what she does. And she was genuinely confused, though.
She knows how to cut lemons.
She knows how to cut lemons, and that one didn't get cut.
Well, I will just have to chalk it up to a glitch in the Matrix.
All right.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
Don't be sorry. That's what we're doing this for. So, listen, we've all had jobs out there where we were professional lemon cutters at one time. I worked in a seafood department where all I did was, you know.
I worked at Wendy's.
You worked at Wendy's?
Yeah.
That's basically the same kind of thing. I gutted fish all day long, pulled the gills out, filleted them over and over and over again.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember scaling a fish and then coming back and it was rescaled. That never happened. But hey, things can happen.
Things can happen. But I got to just say, just on the remote viewing data side, it didn't collate into anything strange.
Yeah.
Her reaction...
Except her reaction was genuine.
Exactly. So I don't know what that means. Sometimes remote viewing data will just fall apart.
Yeah.
But typically when it does fall apart, it means that nothing really important happened.
Well, John, in a sea of nothing burgers so far, this one is at least...
It's a quarter of the way there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, next, Next, let's watch this. This is going to get a little weirder, probably into... I don't even know what kind of land this is going to get into. Let's watch this video.
The kids are kicking a soccer ball back and forth while a friend records their attempts to keep the ball in the air. The footage is fairly normal until something suddenly happens that causes the scene to erupt into chaos. The teens are terrified when a small dark figure suddenly appears out of nowhere. The strange entity is only about half as tall as the teens. It's completely black and seems to be wearing a cloak of some kind. The teens immediately begin to scream and run when the creature appears. The figure continues to move slowly across the courtyard, taking no notice of the bedlam it's just caused. To make matters even more bizarre, the entity appears from a spot in the courtyard where it would have been almost impossible for anyone to sneak in unnoticed. The only entrance to the courtyard is on the opposite side from where the figure appears. Certainly, the teens would have noticed if a creepy little figure had crawled into the courtyard.
Okay, we're
so
good.
Where did this terrifying figure come from?
Normally I would say, okay, CGI, explain this away. But the teens' genuine reaction to whatever this thing is that's going by seems natural. It does not seem staged. They freak out, they run away, which is what would probably happen in real life, right? So it is a ridiculous looking video. I mean, it's like this hooded little creature that seems to scuffle by. There's a whole lot of reason to doubt this video, but then there's always the possibility of some high strangeness around. What was your reaction to this video,
Yeah,
John?
I thought it was compelling. Especially the reactions of the kids. I thought that was compelling. Why? So why would you think that you would have doubts around? Like what things would spur doubts in this for you?
When I watch this video over and over again, you can't see anything appear behind the kid before all of a sudden you see this figure run across. That's
Right.
one
So it
thing.
just runs across. Yeah.
It starts behind the kid, not from a place on screen that you can see it, and then it moves across the screen. So that's one thing. Second thing is random black hoodie. I have a hard time believing that, we're going to get I don't know. It just seemed CGI. That part of it seemed CGI to me.
Right. Easily doable with CGI. Yeah.
Easily doable. A little scuffle.
Right.
Now, it could be that we had a video of kids reacting to something else, like some big spider that walked in, and someone CGI'd this figure instead, and then we've got this very natural looking video, right? So these were all doubts that I had looking at this video of, why it could be fake. But then, of course, I always want it to be real. It just is the question, right?
Right.
What about you, John? What was your reaction?
Well, yeah, it was a lot like yours, just analyzing it. But those kids, the reaction really struck me.
Same.
Which I was like, well, that's interesting. So something is going on. I didn't, like when I initially saw it, I did not feel those kids were acting in any way.
No.
It felt like really like a reaction.
Terror.
Which was really interesting as far as the video goes. But yeah, then you get to, well, that's such a bizarre little scene of a little hooded, cloaked figure running. There's really no details on the surface of the thing it's wearing, and so yeah, I thought, yeah, that could be done with CGI, and like you said, maybe there was something else there the kids freaked out on, and they just masked it with this CGI thing, right?
Sure.
So that was my initial reaction.
Yeah, similar.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So I mean, the only way to really get down to the bottom of this is whether or not you guys have remote viewed this and seen
we remote viewed that. That's real. Yep.
We've got something.
Real.
we've got something that's more legit than the uncut lemon.
Exactly. So this is real. So the data describes this small subject who is sneaking around, who is elf-like, who is fey in the in the fey world, who's
Yes.
related to the fey world, who is sneaking around, knows what it's doing. It's ghosty, but it's not. So that means that it's paraphysical. Paraphysical are things that exist outside of our 3D reality, but it can also be within the physical, which fey beings can, like elf type things. So this thing was like a little elf that was looking, it came through, appeared in there because it can transfer dimensions. It's kind of playing also with the children in a sense, but also really sneaking around in that courtyard and in that house. And it was trying to find the doorway quickly in order to get out. That's what the data was talking about. This little being appears and is like trying to find things to take and then trying to find the doorway to get out really fast.
Wow.
That's what the data was, literally, like across the board. So yeah, we have a legitimate video finally. Obviously not a glitch. These are things that do happen. We've seen this kind of stuff happen before. The Fey
But it's
world
not
is
common
real.
for it to get caught on camera.
Not
it really
common
isn't.
at all. I expect that these people probably have more weird stuff happening right in that general area.
So it was actually very hard to find the origin of this clip. What we'll do is if we can track down the first place or where it is when it first published, we'll put that in the description of this video. But we're gauging from this that this was in South America somewhere, judging by the home, the kids, the soccer, all of that stuff. But we'll do our best to track down some more info for you guys. The strange part is that this is actually a legit video. Of the ones that we saw in here, this video had the least amount of what I would call technical glitches in it. It just looked like kids playing around, and then this hooded figure kind of zoomies in there and tries to get out.
Well, also what's remarkable is that a lot of times these things will show up on camera because of the broader spectrums that a camera has, and the people won't necessarily see it. But they saw the whole thing happen. So this thing legitimately was there physically. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. It's not hopeless. So actually, for those of you that are interested, we did an entire episode on little beings before John remote viewed this video that we just watched and revealed that this is an actual thing. We've been getting so many stories on our Little Beings episode from people who have seen and encountered these things. I actually really encourage you to, one, watch that video on the Metaphysical channel, and two, go into the comments and start looking at some people's experiences seeing these creatures, because they're totally fascinating. It'll keep you reading for a really long time. We've also had another episode recently called Pyro Kid, and this was a child in the Philippines who was predicting or starting, it's kind of hard to say, where fires would erupt in a local town in the Philippines. It was very strange, and there was this figure called the Duende in that. Highly recommend you check that video out too, because there's a lot of strangeness around little beings all across the world that people have seen, that they have recorded, and we're trying to track as many of that stuff and get it out into the Metaphysical channel as we can. So there you go. Check those out. All right, if you guys like these glitches in the Matrix, we're not done, because we have more on the list. So tune in for the next set of glitches where we'll debunk the fakes and reveal the real ones, including maybe the most shocking remote viewing data I've ever heard John go over. And it was about the Queen's death. Yeah, that's right. This one's pretty bizarre. If you want to support our work, you can subscribe to the metaphysical.tv or get yourself a bag of metaphysical coffee or a metaphysical t-shirt to match mine. And with that, we hope you thought this episode was out of this world.